Stop wasting your time looking for waterfront here in Central Florida for less than $400,000 because I'm going to show you what's out there right now. So you're looking for waterfront homes and you're trying to find that needle in the haystack or find a fixer-upper or something that allows you that entry-level price point so you can get in on the water and then go from there. So, when we're talking about homes, and today we're going to talk about 5 homes that are all sold under $400,000, you are not getting Windermere or Winter Park luxury waterfront, obviously. But you're also not having to fork out 7 figures to start living the waterfront lifestyle and living the dream. So today we're going to talk about 5 different properties, and I'm going to give you the ins and outs and the unadulterated view on what you're actually getting for that price point here in the Central Florida market. We're going to expand outside the metro area in most cases, but you can find some that are close to downtown Orlando. But there is stuff out there. We're going to go through it right now. So first, let's talk about a property that is technically on a skiable lake, and it is listed as a waterfront home on a ski lake, and it's out there on the Clermont Chain. That's a fantastic chain of lakes, one of my favorites. I've sold stuff out there quite a bit. I actually sold an island on the Clermont Chain years ago. It's a fun story. Happy to share that in another video. But we're talking about 725 Black Eagle Drive. Now this property, it's about 1,500 plus square feet, 3-2 block home, solid, great house, built in 2013. So it's a fantastic property. It is listed in the MLS as a waterfront home on a ski lake. Technically, that's the case. Now, the reality of it is the water frontage on this property is a canal, okay? Not unusual, okay? Especially at this price point. What's worth understanding, though, this particular canal is the navigability of it, big word, as far as getting a ski boat out to the lake is to be determined. Now, the listing agent did exactly as she was supposed to do, and she called that out in the listing and said, this is to be confirmed by the buyer. So this is a great example of when you're looking at waterfront at lower price points, really understanding what you're getting into. So if you live on this canal and want to get to the main lake and you have an airboat, you're probably okay. If you have a ski boat with a deep draft on it, you're probably dependent on the water being high, the canal being cleared out, navigable and all that stuff. But this property hit the market at, what was it, $379. It was under contract, near full asking price, $375 in 4 days. So that tells you that the sellers and the agent, they had it priced right. The market responded. They thought it was the right price for that property and went under contract very quickly. So these things don't sit out there long. That's another lesson to learn when you're looking at waterfront properties at this price point. Okay, let's talk about the property on Lake Emma Road that actually fronts Lake Desire, which is a smaller lake across the street from Lake Emma. Lake Desire is a fantastic lake. I'm a little bit partial. I used to own a home just a few doors down. Crystal clear waters, on the small side for skiing, but I would say you could get a ski boat, water sport boat on this lake. It's about 40-ish acres, and most of it is undeveloped. It backs up to some agricultural land on the other side. The long-term plan is to have a development go up in there, so that will change down the road. But a fantastic, very private, still has a rural feel to it out there. It's in Groveland, so it's about, you get on the turnpike, you can get out there from downtown Orlando, probably I would say 50 minutes realistically these days. But block home, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, hit the market at $399, ended up dropping until it went under contract at $300. It took about 66 days on the market. And this is a great example of a property that feels rural. You've got a decent sized piece of property. You have true frontage on Lake Desire. Amazing sunrises coming up. It's got a eastern orientation from the backyard. And if you're looking for true Florida waterfront home below $400,000, this one fits the bill. Okay, next up is a home on Tradewinds Trail. This is in a community called Isle of Catalina. Isle of Catalina is a very unique, kind of interesting community that was built out in Orlando back in the 50s, back before we had our big boom here and Disney and the attractions, all that came along. And the development consisted of what was traditionally lowlands, wetlands, and whatnot. A developer went in and cut out a bunch of finger canals off of Clear Lake, which is a fairly large lake just outside downtown Orlando. That's back in an era when it was easy to go in and do that. Nobody really had an understanding of what the ecological impacts were, and so you find these mostly over on the coastal areas of Florida. Rare to find these inland, but that's what we have here in Isle of Catalina. So you have a lot of the homes, most of the homes are on these little finger canals that lead out into Clear Lake. Now, Clear Lake is a nice, large, skiable water sports lake. I've sold a lot of homes in Isle of Catalina over the years to professional wakeboarders and people that wanted to get in on the water at the entry-level price and were willing to take on a property that was a older ranch-style house. This one here in particular is 1,660 some odd square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They're block. They usually have 2-car garage, kind of your traditional ranch. But the thing to understand about Isle Catalina, and this one in particular, yes, you have direct frontage on a canal that leads out to Clear Lake. The challenge with Isle of Catalina is some of those homes sit on the opposite side of bridges that you have to go under to get out to the main lake. And those are not very high profile bridges. And if you have a wakeboard boat with a big tower that doesn't disassemble or fold down easily, and even if it does in times of high water, you might find it a challenge to get your boat out into the lake because you've got to traverse underneath these bridges. So something to understand. This particular property hit the market at $349, ended up selling in about 13 days for $255. This might be the one of the better grabs in Orlando market as far as getting some direct frontage on the lake. It did require a lot of work, as you can anticipate. You know, this was basically a buy it and fix it up of an older solid block home that does get you on the water over in Isle Catalina on Clear Lake. But buyer beware, you've got to do your homework. You've got to understand what you're getting, what your usage is. You know, if you're just a paddleboard kayak person, fantastic. If you've got a new nautique with a big tower on it, you're probably not getting your boat out, all the time. Just depends. So understand what you're buying. Okay, this next one on Griffin Drive is an interesting property because it's located in Leesburg, which is probably close to an hour drive from downtown Orlando these days. It's on Lake Griffin. It has direct frontage on one of Leesburg's largest chain of lakes. It's called the Harris Chain of Lakes, and that's an interesting chain of lakes. Fantastic fishing. Some of those lakes tend to be shallower, which is one of the reasons it's popular for fishing. Not always best for wakeboarding and water sports, but there's still plenty of room out there, plenty of water depth to do that. It can be a little more temperamental in terms of when we have low water conditions. Sometimes it's something to understand before you invest on the Harris Chain. Now this property is interesting. It hit the market originally at $299, went under contract very quickly, ended up closing at $263 in about 11 days. So the market liked that price. Somebody went in there and snatched it up, and after a few months, put this back on. It's now currently back active on the market, and they are at currently $525. They started at $550. Totally remade this house. It was originally a 3-1. They've gone in and changed it to a 2-2. So they've done some substantial work here. Brand new kitchen, baths, total redo on the inside, updated plumbing. They've put a dock in that looks like they've cleared a lot of the trees out and whatnot. And this is probably one of the when it was purchased, one of the better deals out there in terms of having almost an acre of property, direct frontage, amazing sunrises with the orientation it has. And it's you've got your own property out there, nice and private. It's got its own boat ramp, so really kind of gives you the lakefront living feel for it. Somebody went in there and snatched it up and said, "Hey, I'm going to flip this thing. Go ahead and do some pretty serious renovations to it and put it back on the market." Right now, it's out there at $5.25, and it's been on the market for 46 days. So we'll keep an eye on this one and see how it plays out. But these, again, as we've said before, these deals are out here. You've got to kind of understand what you're getting into. And in a situation like this, are you going up against cash buyers and other investors? These lower priced lakefront homes can be very competitive when they hit the market and they're priced right. And there's a lot of buyers out there chasing them. So there you go, Lake Griffin. Let's talk about Raymar Drive. Raymar Drive is on a canal that opens up to Lake Holden. Lake Holden is a fantastic lake just outside downtown Orlando. I would say maybe a 10 to 15 minute drive to downtown area, and one of the more popular wakeboard and ski lakes in the downtown Orlando area. And you can get on this lake for a little bit less than you can with some of the other lakes. A lot of that is school zone dependent, and most of these homes were built, or ranch style block homes that were built. I think this one was built in the built in 1972. This is an interesting property because it originally hit the market at $550,000 and did not go under contract till the price came down to $449. They had a $100,000 price drop and then ended up selling for $385. So and it was on the market for close to 6 months. The market understands what things are worth, and I have this conversation with buyers, but also mostly sellers. You've got to price something right. The market will respond. This house is a fix-up project. It's solid block. It's got some of the more expensive systems have been replaced, newer roof, newer AC, but somebody was going to go in there and totally redo this, most likely top to bottom from a cosmetic perspective. But again, it's getting somebody on the lake for under $400,000, 10 to 15 minute drive to downtown Orlando. These kind of deals are hard to find, but they're out there. One other thing to think about, this is a canal front property. It's only about 3 doors down from the actual lake, but as we've talked about in other videos, the canal width and the ability to put in a boathouse to keep your boat there and still have enough navigable width of the canal is something you've got to understand as a buyer. But again, for this type of price point, this location downtown, it opens up to a great ski lake, hard to beat. So there you have it. That's a wrap on what you can get in the Central Florida waterfront market for under $400,000. And as you'll see, and the important thing to understand, there's always trade-offs, whether it's a low bridge to get your boat under, whether it's canal versus waterfront, whether it's a home that needs a total gut job, or maybe one that's in a neighborhood, a school zone that's not top rated, but it's getting you on the water. It really depends on kind of what you're looking for, and you as a buyer understand what the trade-offs are going to be to get to own that property on the water and start enjoying the waterfront lifestyle. So if you're thinking about buying waterfront in Central Florida, please reach out. A lot of this comes down to kind of understanding the lakes, the neighborhoods, the nuances of the construction, and everything else that goes into making this kind of purchase. If you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe to this video down below. It really helps the channel. And I'm always interested to hear your comments. What kind of stuff would you like to hear more of? We do these videos, put them out at least once a week, and we love working with waterfront buyers and sellers. It's something I've been doing for a while, and it's a real passion of mine. So please, if I can help you out in any way, reach out. I'm Mike Derenthal. Thanks for checking us out.